Hi, it's I, Michael A. Grimm, aka Multi-Voice Reviewer. What you're about to see is my 5th year anniversary. Now, you're wondering why it didn't show up on time because I have a bit of a technical difficulty with my Wi-Fi, but right now I'm getting myself a new Wi-Fi, and I hope this video be uploaded right on time. If it's not, sorry for waiting. So, enjoy my anniversary. Hello, I'm the Multi-Voice Reviewer. I am many voices, but one opinion. And today, this here is my... And right now, it is October 16th. And you know what that means? My 5th year anniversary! So for this year, I decided to celebrate. I decided to celebrate my 50th anniversary with a nice cup of bubbly. Give me some bubbly, come on. Cheers. Ah, that's good stuff. Oh, whew. Oh, can you believe it's like 5 years since I started my videos on YouTube? 5 years! I mean, just 5 years! And of course, looking back on my reviews, there were some things I noticed I've been doing back then that I stopped. Like, I remember when in my very first review, I always kept saying, yeah, of course, back then. And of course, back then, I was growing a mustache before I decided to grow a goatee to go along with the mustache. And of course, my very first review, I wore this. And it still fit me, after all those years. That is true. That's some good bubbly. Now, what exactly was my very first review? What was it? Do I get the Justice League membership cards? Oh, yeah. Superman and Bugs Bunny comics. This was my very first review. And I had and they only made issues 1 to 4. And I still have them even today. But one thing I also remembered in my review, I didn't open up the page and show you what was going on inside. So I thought for this anniversary, I decided to go in, dig in. So for this anniversary, let's dig in for Superman and Bugs Bunny comic, and let's see if it still holds up even today. You can see on this issue, you see all the members of the Justice League started reading the Looney Tunes comics, while at the same time, the Looney Tunes started reading the Justice League comics. Imagine that. And this comic book came out back then, during the same time as the Space Jam. Come on and Sam, if you want to jam! That was a great thing. And as you can see here, you can see Superman and Lois Lane walking around the street, while at the same time, Bugs Bunny is doing his old tricks with Elmer Fudd. And what's up, Doc? Be very, very quiet, I'm hunting rabbit. And as you can see, this one villain who goes by the name of Mr. Spicklick, that Superman spotted. And of course, while Bugs Bunny, he's still doing his old tricks with Elmer Fudd. And of course, Mr. Spicklick decided to start doing some gardening and planted a magical seed. Now, for those of you who don't know who Mr. Spicklick is, Mr. Spicklick is actually, he's an imp from the 5th dimension. So he's kind of magical, just woo! Why are you spinning? And of course, Mr. Spicklick just planted his magical seed on the ground, and it started started to grow, while at the same time, Bugs Bunny outsmarting Elmer Fudd as usual. As you can see that Bugs Bunny outsmarted Elmer Fudd, and Elmer Fudd doing his thing, while Mr. Spitlick was doing some gardening and his building finally grew. As you can see that the building has finally grew, and it's supposed to be Mr. Spitlick's gift store, while at the same time, Bugs Bunny ended up in the dead end. And as you can see, Mr. Spitlick grew a coffee shop. And of course, he's cheating people out of their money, and it's time for Clark Kent to become Superman. While at the same time, Elmer Fudd was about ready to fire his gun on Bugs Bunny, but it came out roses. And it turns out it was the last of the Dodos who did that.
Yes, I'm the last of the Dodos.
Hi, everybody. I'm a vitamin boy. Are you tired and listless? You pop out a party. Are you unpopular? As you can see here, Mr. Spitlick did grew an entire town with that seed he made, while the last of the Dodos, he starts reminiscing about his past. He's trying to find a world that suit him since Wacky World isn't good enough for him. So he kept on going to other worlds and other dimensions with this device he found, and he found a punk world, while Superman is trying to handle with Mr. Spitlick. You know, I remember, did Superman outsmart Mr. Spitlick by forcing him to say his name backwards? Mr. I never could pronounce his first name in the first place. As Superman discovered that he should be more like Clark Kent in order to outsmart Mr. Spitlick, so therefore he took a Twinkie and erased the label and trying to write down his name spelled backwards, while at the same time, the last of the Dodo didn't feel comfortable being in our world, Superman's world that is, and all of a sudden decided to go off on his own. Poor little Dodo. Sometimes I always think he might be a bird. Anyway, as Clark Kent, he finally tricked Mr. Spitlick by reading the label of his Twinkie, and of course, he did read his name spelled backwards on his Twinkie. While at the same time, Bugs Bunny decided to take the last of the Dodo into a world that he never been before, and it's the DC universe. Wait a minute. Is the DC universe kind of dark recently? I mean, I remember that DC used to have more mature, dark, grown-up comics called Vertigo, but now Vertigo's no more, and just became DC, and the modern DC comics have been getting kind of dark lately since Disney owns Marvel. Who knows? What do I know, huh? As you can see here, the world is safe once again thanks to Superman, while Bugs Bunny decided to help hunt Elmer Fudd.
Shh, be very, very quiet. We're hunting Elmers.
At the same time, you can see that Mr. Spitlick and the last of the Dodos all of a sudden collide, and they bumped into each other. When the last of the Dodos met Mr. Spitlick, he helped the last of the Dodos create a new machine. It makes him able to go to all the other alternate worlds together. Anyway, Mr. Spitlick ended up in the Loony Tune world, where you can see Foghorn Leghorn playing a trick to Mr. Spitlick, and it turns out that the box he had a pie, and whack him in the face. Anyway, the last of the Dodo knew what Mr. Spitlick was in, so he got him out of the Foghorn Leghorn world and put him into Daffy Duck and his Musketeers. Come back, Musketeers! They have famine my blade! Touché! And all of a sudden, Daffy dropped an anvil right on top of Mr. Spitlick's head. So the Dodo got him out of the Daffy Duck world and into the jungle where the Tasmanian Devil is at. You know, I always loved the Tasmanian Devil. Him and his... Oh, in case you're wondering what kind of voice I'm going for as Mr. Spicklick, I would say that he would sound more like Gilbert Godfrey. You know,
I'm here to do everything around here. Hello, am I alone here? I am an imp, and I like to play some tricks and games of people.
Anyway, Mr. Spitlick was reading the book about the Tasmanian Devil, and it says it eats everything, including imps. So the Tasmanian Devil starts coming after Mr. Spitlick. So the last of the Dodos got Mr. Spitlick out of the Tasmanian world and back to the main world where their device is at. So they decided to do some adjustments together. And then with the last switch, all of your favorite Looney Tunes characters starts disappearing in their world, and they're going all the way to the DC world, where you see Kyle Rayner. Now, Kyle Rayner, he was the artist. All he does is art. And all of a sudden, he gets the Green Lantern ring, and he was also in touch with the spirit of the Green Lantern, made him the most powerful Green Lantern member in the world, and now in the later comics, now he becomes a White Lantern member. Know your comics. Kyle Rayner Green Lantern found the remains of a Martian and therefore meets Marvin the Martian. I'm here to blow up the Earth. I'm a Martian. While at the same time, the fastest man alive, the Flash, was running through the desert, and all of a sudden he come across
Speedy Gonzales, the fastest mouse in all de Mexico. Andale, andale, riba.
While at the same time, you can see that Plastic Man is spying on this goon. Now, that character doesn't have a name, he's just called the Gangster. Since Plastic Man knew that this gangster has a thing for cats, he decided to turn himself into a cat until Pepe Le Pew shows up. Oh, Mr. Michelet, I am Pepe Le Pew, the world's greatest lover of all Paris, oui? No? While Batman, on the other hand, he steps going around the city of Gotham, and therefore he found a tiny little penguin. And the penguin gave Batman his card. And of course, there's Mr. McKelplick and the last of the Dodos who start seeing that the world are now being combined. That's the end of this chapter. Now to the next one. Now to the second chapter, where you see Elmer Fudd here is dressing up as Superman, saying, "Crime doesn't play." As you can see that the fastest man alive, the Flash, running through the desert, and therefore he spotted. Flash not only spotted Speedy Gonzales, but the Roadrunner.
Meep, meep.
And of course, Wile E. Coyote, super genius. And of course, as usual, you can see that the Roadrunner outsmarted the Wile E. Coyote. Now, of course, the Wile E. Coyote had never talked, but he always keeps holding up signs showing what he's saying. You could save me, you know, as he held up while he was falling from the cliffs, while the Flash was thinking about what's going on. Now, I cannot show you all of it in the comics, so I'm going to show you some brief things. Like for instance, you can see Mr. McKelplick is just watching and observing the entire crossover thing, while Mr. McKelplick is just sitting on the ground laughing. Like an idiot. And of course, Mr. McKelplick, the last of the Dodos were playing tricks on him. Man, there's a lot of commercials in these comic book pages. Anyway, Kyle Rayner Guy Gardner flew all the way to stop Marvin the Martian, and of course, according to the Green Lantern Authority, no threats on Earth are not allowed. So, Marvin the Martian decided to give him a box full of what he calls it freebies. And as he opens it, these critters just keep saying, Phoebe, 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 Phoebe. Meanwhile, Martian Manhunter sees a Tasmanian devil who keeps going after businessmen, and of course the bird of prey, the vulture, sees Wonder Woman flying her invisible jet, and of course Aquaman, who looks up in the shore
And see Yosemite Sam being a pirate, you underwater long-haired varmint.
Plastic Man get in one of the gangsters' house, and therefore he saw Sylvester the Cat and Tweety. I thought I saw Plastic Man. I did saw Plastic Man. And of course, Batman shows up. Of course, as you can see in this issue, here comes the Penguin. So this gangster belongs to the Penguin. And of course, you see Plastic Man and Batman are battling against the Penguin. And then from out of nowhere, out comes this show-off dog who shows up. While at the same time, Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd still playing their hunting game. And of course, Bugs Bunny tricked Elmer Fudd to wear a clown costume. Wait a minute, did I hear that Elmer Fudd said this? I don't want to play a crazy clown. I'm afraid of clowns. And as you can see, the machine just hit Elmer Fudd and Clark Kent, and now their powers have been switched. And as you can see on this issue, Elmer Fudd became Super Fudd. And of course, you can see the Chicken Hawk attacking Barry White, accusing him as a chicken. I'm a chicken hawk and I'm looking for a chicken! And there was a huge giant spaceship who started attacking, and Superman took off his suit, and turns out he was wearing a clown costume, while Elmer Fudd starts picking up bugs and starts flying around. While this ship kept on hitting all the buildings, all the Looney Tunes finally ended up in the DC world. And of course, the last of the Dodos hit the beam on Daffy Duck and Batman at the same time. And from out of nowhere, out comes this mysterious figure who kept watching everything, and it's the Toy Man. And of course, the big ship was about ready to hit Elmer Fudd. For this issue, now let's get to the next one. This one is issue 3. As you can see, now Daffy Duck got his wishes and became Bat Duck. And Superman said this:
He fights crime.
And Bugs Bunny said,
Why not? It's a foul play. Ain't I a stinker?
This one begins when the Green Arrow showed up. Now this is not Oliver Queen Green Arrow, but Connor Hawk Green Arrow. And somebody gave him the box, and it turns out it's the baby bear. And as he opened the box, guess what turns up? The singing frog. Ugh, I hate that singing frog. That is one Looney Tune character that I really hate. That character always peed me off. He only sings to one person and nobody else. Anyway, as usual, the Green Arrow kept showing this old man that this singing frog can sing, but he isn't singing in front of the homeless man, just the Green Arrow. But at the same time, Elmer Fudd is dealing with these bad guys in this jet. While at the same time, Mr. Mistleplicklick and the last of the Dodos decided to stop getting along, and they start fighting over each other. Elmer Fudd finally battled against those bad guys flying the jet, while Toy Man isn't defeated. He has another trick up his sleeve, and the bad guys shoot lasers at Fudd, and it's not affecting. But at the same time, Mr. Spicklick squirted water all over the last of the Dodo. The water hit the machine. It caused Elmer Fudd to lose his Superman powers, and now he ends up in his shorts. When it's up to Bugs Bunny to do his part, he starts talking to the two goons, making them fight over each other. While Superman is seeing all this, he sees Porky Pig and Foghorn Leghorn. Anyway, Bugs Bunny outsmarted the crooks. They both shot each other while the ship was crash landing to a building. And as you can see, Foghorn Leghorn knew that Clark Kent here is Superman. And even though Superman denies it, but Foghorn Leghorn knows he's Superman because the glasses ain't fooling him. I always thought glasses was a stupid disguise. Anyway, Superman got his powers back and he finally finished off the ship. Meanwhile, in Gotham, Commissioner Gordon got the bat signal lighting up, and out comes Bat Duck.
I am the Knight, the Duck Knight. And anybody who likes to deal with crime, they're despicable.
Bitlick hit one lever, and all the Looney Tunes and the DC superheroes, and including Green Arrow and the Singing Frog, are now going through a dimensional portal, while at the same time the frog keeps singing. It was the greatest scene I ever seen in my entire life, the most awesome scene in the world. All the DC superheroes meeting the Looney Tunes all together. Which I thought it was really awesome to see them all. I mean, I would like to have this picture as a poster hanging up in my wall. Anyway, they decided to team up together and decided to work together in order to deal with the big threats going on in the DC world. Before it's settled, the Looney Tunes teamed up with the Justice League. Let's dig with the final issue of this comic book, Batman and Bugs Bunny, issue number 4. Where one of the toy soldiers starts firing its gun, while all the Justice League and Looney Tunes starts fighting crime together. And of course, Daffy Duck is Bat Duck saying,
"Watch where you're aiming, bub. This suit is a rental."
There's a bunch of bad guys who was using a giant toy tank who is starting to destroy everything. So Pepe Le Pew asked the Green Arrow to put him on the arrow and shoot him into the arrow. And all the crooks, they couldn't stand the smell of Pepe Le Pew, so they quickly left the tank. There's a giant toy soldier who decided to create mayhem, but Bugs Bunny tells Tasmanian Devil to have some iron, because iron is good for him. So the Tasmanian Devil starts eating the toy soldier, and the toy soldier collapses. And of course, sometimes Batman always thinks that sometimes Bugs Bunny's mind can be working as a criminal mastermind, but at least he's on the good side. The Justice League decided to battle against the Mechanical Dragon, but of course, they grab Wonder Woman and Aquaman, and of course, Martian Manhunter got really weak on fire. Fire is his weakness. So, Tweety decided to take matters in his own hands and saying,
That's it, no more Mr. Nightwire. Bad old Mechanical Dragon.
This here is my favorite scene of all here. I mean, get this, guys. There are these two guys who saw Tweety got in their machine, and they said he's just a little canary. He will not be no trouble. And he says,
No trouble, huh? They don't know me very well, do they?
And of course, they were checking out Martian Manhunter. And of course, as you can see, Samuel Jackson, Yosemite Sam saying, What in tarnation's wrong with this Mechanical Dragon? And Sylvester said, I don't know. Looks like the Macarena. Macarena. Hey, Macarena, right? Well, they finally did it. The Looney Tunes and the DC heroes finally did it. They worked together to battle against the bad guys, and now they need to deal with the bigger fish to fry. And as you can see here, the Toy Man and Daffy Duck went to the Looney Tune world, and the Toy Man decided to aim a gun right at Bat Duck. And of course, here's the best scene ever said. The Toy Man says, You in what army? And Daffy said, the Justice League. And behind him are the Justice Leagues and the Looney Tunes together. Which is really, I just love that scene so much. Now, they realized that the last of the Dodos didn't want all this madness to happen, but Mr. McKelplick did. So, the Looney Tunes decided to outsmart Mr. McKelplick. So, as usual, it's up to Bugs Bunny to outsmart him. And he says, remember the website, www.hisnamebackwards.com. And then when he said it, well, Mr. McKelplick starts vaporizing, and he said, You're
despicable.
And Daffy Duck declared ownership on that one. So now the last of the Dodos decided to put him back in their world. Well, all the Looney Tunes decided to go back to their Looney Tune world, while Bugs Bunny and the other cartoons said goodbye, and they said it was fun meeting them, and it was an honor helping them. And as for the Justice League, they went back home. So, and all of a sudden, Barry White found a singing frog in the box. And everybody knows what's going to happen on that one, as they've seen in the comic book they're reading lately. And this was the end of Superman and Bugs Bunny. Now, I don't know about you, this was an awesome comic. And this is what I was talking about in the first season. I mean, they should do an animated movie having people who does the Looney Tune cartoons and the DC superhero anime series. I mean, here's an introduction.
In a world where two universes has been combined, when there is forces of evil happening, the Justice League has to team up with the Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it can happen.
Superman and Bugs Bunny. See them soon.
Of course, sadly, I didn't get the graphic novel of it. Like they did. They did made a graphic novel of it. Wish I had it, but sadly, I just got these issues, and I'm still proud of them. And ever since, they've been making some more. Like, there is a lot of artwork of every issue they're doing. And check out what they made. They made Batman and Elmer Fudd, Lobo and the Road Runner, Wonder Woman and the Tasmanian Devil, Jonah Hex and Yosemite Sam, as you can see Foghorn Leghorn's there too. Manhunter meets Marvin the Martian. League of Heroes meets Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, what's up, superheroes? What's up, Doc?
I mean, heck, I love the Looney Tunes and the DC superheroes so much. Back in 1992, McDonald's used to sell these. Kids' meals of these I collected. Superman is Super Bugs. Daffy Duck is Bat Duck. Petunia Pig as Wonder Pig. And Tasmanian Devil is Tazbaz. And I also made my own artwork on this. Let me check it out. And I also made background characters, like the Looney Justice League. The other characters. And their villains. And side villains. Oh, that was my anniversary. I remember the first time I made my show, it was on Facebook. I used to share my videos on Facebook a long time ago until Facebook decided to stop uploading my videos because they're so long and great. Anyway, oh hey, hi Mr. Death. What are you doing here?
I sense you're here. What on earth are you doing, multi-voice reviewer?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Death. I just celebrating my anniversary and I had a little too much to drink. Want some?
A little too much grape cider? Phew. Sometime, Mr. Multi-Voice Reviewer, I always think you are a half a moron. I'm here to tell you happy anniversary, so long.
Oh, non-alcoholic. So I wasn't drunk the entire time. I was still sober. Oh well, happy anniversary, buddy, everybody. And thank you for wishing me a happy anniversary. And for those of you who like my review, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe for more reviews. And, cheers. So long, folks.